What's up, addicts? Welcome to the Fantasy Addiction Network. In this video, we are taking a look at Houston Texans wide receiver Will Fuller, trying to parse together what we expect from him in 2020. One of the guys with arguably the largest range of outcomes in all of fantasy, and trying to project where this guy is going to be is a nightmare. But if you get it right, it's either going to be someone you're glad to avoid or someone that could drastically outperform his ADP. And that is definitely someone we want to get right. So let's give you guys the case for and against Will Fuller and let you know where we stand, and we'll get into more of that. So last year, not a good year for Will Fuller. Misses 5 games, 4 to a hamstring strain, also had a core muscle tear. Guy has had a litany of injuries, as we'll get into in a second, and that has really been plaguing what arguably could be a really productive career, getting to play for a really good deep downfield quarterback like Deshaun Watson. And Will Fuller is definitely a benefit to Deshaun Watson. Deshaun Watson has seen around a 5-point per game boost to his fantasy points in the games that he was able to play with both Will Fuller and DeAndre Hopkins. Now, obviously, DeAndre Hopkins leaving will create a pretty massive hole in the number of 150 targets now get to be distributed between the new guys arriving in Houston. So there is a lot going on here. And if Will Fuller, if we knew right now that Will Fuller was going to play a full 16 games, which I don't really think anyone could say with any confidence whatsoever, but if that was the case, his ADP would probably be closer to the 3rd round just based on the potential that he could provide. And you're getting him at a discount, obviously, due to the injuries and some of the other additions to this team. So last year, obviously, cut the vast majority of his fantasy points in weeks 5 and 12, put up a whopping 53.7 fantasy points in week 5, getting 14 receptions for 217 yards and 3 touchdowns. I believe all 3 of those touchdowns were pretty long as well. So absolutely ridiculous upside. Puts up another 21-point game against Indianapolis, first game coming off an injury, but had multiple games where he was barely involved whatsoever. And a lot of that just due to dealing with lingering injuries week in, week out. That was just a constant problem with Will Fuller, and it has been for a good portion of his career. So coming into a season where you don't have DeAndre Hopkins is going to be really interesting. Last year he finished with a 20% target share even when DeAndre Hopkins was there, so you'd probably expect that to go up. Yards per reception probably come down slightly if he's going to see more volume. Yards per target, 9.4, 18th in the NFL. Average target distance, 14.8. Again, very good deep downfield. Does need to work on his drop rate. 8.5% of his passes were dropped, so that you would hope it would come down. But still managed a 53.8% contested catch rate, which is pretty impressive for a guy getting that many deep downfield targets. Averaged 1.89 fantasy points per target, 33 in the league. So I think really what this is coming down to is how do we really expect the Texans offense to be deployed? What is Bill O'Brien's plan? Obviously, they add Brandon Cooks and Randall Cobb alongside Will Fuller, Kenny Stills, and Kiki QT. They bring in David Johnson, who is a pass-catching running back, and they still have Duke Johnson there, who is a pass catcher as well. So they have arguably 7 guys, not even mentioning the tight ends on this roster, who aren't great by any means. Collie Waring may be someone that could surprise this year, very athletic, but someone that was injured for the entirety of last year, so we didn't really get a chance to see what he could do. So there's plenty of pass-catching guys, capable pass-catching guys on this team, and I think it would be unreasonable to expect Will Fuller to approach anywhere near the same target volume that DeAndre Hopkins would receive, but it wouldn't really matter. Even if he saw the same targets here that he did, if he's actually able to stay healthy, he would still be, low-end wide receiver 1, high-end wide receiver 2 in weekly rankings. So if he's able to stay healthy, he's already going at a ridiculous discount going in the 7th round right now. But I really think it's quite a bit of a stretch to imagine that he would finish the season completely healthy. As we can see, in the 4 years that he has played in the league, he's dealt with 3 hamstring strains, a knee strain, a clavicle fracture, a rib fracture, had that ACL tear back in 2018, core muscle tear last year. It's just nonstop soft tissue injuries, And it's really just signaling. I mean, for the most part, we throw in the fantasy community, we throw around the term injury prone a little bit too haphazardly. There, most of the time, we try to associate guys that are constantly getting hurt and just saying, oh, well, their bodies just can't take it. And for the most part, that's not really the case. But Will Fuller is one of the exceptions to that rule, especially when there's so many issues that are connected to one another. You know, hamstrings leading to the ACL, core muscle, nonstop soft tissue injuries. I'm not a doctor, so I'm not going to be able to explain this as best as some of the doctors out there, but hearing them just express how they're concerned that Will Fuller just doesn't have the ability to stay healthy for a whole season, it's really difficult to even trust that. So how many weeks are you going to get of Will Fuller? Are you going to be comfortable playing him when he actually is playing? Because if he's not healthy, we saw what he did last year in a few of the games, playing through injury. It has the capability of putting up less than 5 points a week. So it is the ultimate risk reward drafting Will Fuller. We're projecting him to not finish 16 games, but still have him getting 60 receptions and about 900 receiving yards, 6 total touchdowns. That would put him at about 183 fantasy points, but obviously has the upside to go above 250, even could broach 300 fantasy points if he played a full 16, but way too much risk for Will Fuller. So, whoops, I thought that was a picture of Will Fuller, but overall, I'm probably going to be avoiding the injury risk. We have enough to worry about right now, assuming football even happens. We have enough to worry about with players getting sick. Last thing we need is to glut up our bench with guys that are constantly getting hurt. If I'm wrong about Will Fuller, if he plays a full 16 games, then I apologize, but I'm not going to bet on it right now. And I think given that, I'll probably be targeting someone else around where he's going at his ADP. But if you trust and you want to take a chance, there's a league-winning upside there, which, I mean, there's never really a reason to avoid upside, especially if you can get him in the 7th or 8th round. I mean, if he falls to the 8th round enough times, I'll probably end up getting a few shares of him. Just not someone I'm actively targeting, because there are so many other pass catchers in this offense that even if he does stay healthy, there's no guarantee that he's going to see the massive increase to his target share. So that's my take. I don't really know what you guys think. Let me know in the comment section below. Are you in on Will Fuller, or are you thinking that he is a fantasy landmine? Let me know in the comment section below. Hit that subscribe button for more videos, and we'll see you guys in the next one.